In the peaceful suburban neighborhood of Maplewood, Ontario, back in 2015, Alina Ferris was the kind of woman everyone admired. A devoted wife, a caring mother, and a gentle presence in the community. She seemed to live a life most people only dreamed of. Her husband, Marcus Bennett, a successful civil engineer from Canada, provided her and their two young children with every comfort imaginable. To outsiders, their marriage was flawless. Alina's friends often joked that she was living a fairy tale. But behind the calm exterior of their beautiful home, a painful truth was growing. Marcus was being unfaithful. For months, Alina had sensed something was wrong. Marcus had become distant, his once warm eyes now cold and unreadable. He spent long hours at work, often returning home with a faint scent of perfume that wasn't hers. At first, she told herself it was just her imagination, but the unease refused to fade. Alina had grown up in Kuala Lumpur, where her parents' enduring love taught her that marriage required patience, forgiveness, and resilience. Her late mother used to say, "A strong marriage isn't about perfection. It's about choosing each other even when life tests you." Those words became Alina's guiding light. For years, she held on to them, even as her own marriage began to crack. She wanted her children, Sophia and Ryan, to grow up in a complete family. But one quiet morning in January, her fragile hope began to collapse. As Alina sorted through the household mail, she noticed an unfamiliar credit card bill, filled with expensive dinners and hotel stays Marcus had never mentioned. Her heart sank when she saw multiple transactions at the same boutique hotel downtown. Still, she didn't confront him immediately. Instead, she began watching him closely, his calls, his messages, his sudden urge to protect his phone like it held his soul. One night, while Marcus slept, Alina unlocked his phone with shaking hands. What she found confirmed her worst fears: affectionate texts, pictures, and hotel bookings. The betrayal was like a storm tearing through her heart. But Alina didn't scream, didn't weep in front of him. Instead, she gathered her evidence: photos, screenshots, receipts. Quietly, carefully, she prepared herself for the confrontation she knew was coming. Weeks passed before she finally found the courage. On a cold February night, after putting the children to bed, she faced Marcus in the living room. Her voice trembled as she asked about the woman. At first, he denied it. Then, when she laid the evidence before him, he tried to twist the truth, blaming stress, work, and even Alina herself. He said she had changed, that she didn't understand him anymore, that she was too focused on the children. By their third argument, Alina saw him clearly for who he had become. There was no remorse, no love, only excuses. The man she once adored was gone. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how something so beautiful had turned into this. Her heart ached for the life she thought they had, and for the woman she used to be before she learned what betrayal truly felt like. She had seen it all: the lies, the deception, and the complete lack of remorse. The breaking point came on March 3rd. Alina Ferris had been out running errands, just an ordinary afternoon at the grocery store. When she returned home, her 6-year-old daughter, Sophia, ran up to her with an innocent but shattering question. "Mommy, who was that lady with Daddy?" At first, Alina froze. Then came the details: how Sophia had seen her father, Marcus Bennett, sitting too close to another woman in the living room. The little girl didn't understand, but her words pierced through Alina like glass. That was the moment everything fell apart. Marcus hadn't just betrayed her. He had brought his infidelity into their home, into the space they built together, into their child's memories. That night, as Alina lay awake staring at the ceiling, something inside her changed. The tears were gone. In their place was clarity. She would not confront him again with words. She would show him the truth. Alina began to plan, calmly and methodically. She ordered tiny hidden cameras online, ones that could easily blend into the decor. A clock in the bedroom, a photo frame in the living room, a voice recorder tucked inside Marcus's briefcase. Every detail mattered. Every angle was perfect. She knew his patterns, his lies, his careless routine. He thought her silence meant surrender, but in truth, it was the sound of a storm gathering. Over the next few weeks, Marcus grew bolder. He believed he was untouchable. He brought the other woman, Lisa, into their home again and again. Every visit, every whisper, every stolen touch, captured in high definition. Alina didn't cry anymore. She simply watched, recorded, and waited. It wasn't revenge she wanted. It was justice. By early June, her evidence was complete. Videos, voice clips, text messages. She knew exactly when to reveal it. The annual Bennett family reunion was coming up on July 4th, held at Marcus's parents' grand estate in the Canadian countryside. It was supposed to be a day of laughter, family, and pride. For Alina, it would be the stage for the truth. She prepared a USB drive, a carefully edited montage of Marcus's betrayals. She smiled. She cooked. She pretended. Nobody suspected a thing. The day of the reunion arrived. Bright skies, the smell of barbecue, children running across the lawn. Marcus played the perfect husband, the perfect father, shaking hands, laughing loudly. But Alina's heart was steel. When the evening slideshow began, a cherished family tradition, she quietly slipped her USB drive into the computer. One by one, the images began to play, but these weren't family memories. Gasps filled the room. The video showed Marcus with Lisa, unmistakable, undeniable. Voices, touches, betrayal laid bare before every relative who once admired him. Marcus's face turned pale as silence fell. Alina stood tall. For the first time in years, she felt free. This wasn't revenge. This was the end of deception and the beginning of Alina's new life. Alina Ferris felt her pulse quicken, but she forced herself to remain composed. The air in the room was heavy with anticipation as Marcus Bennett's father adjusted the projector and connected the laptop for the family's annual gathering. When the lights dimmed and the chatter faded into silence, Alina quietly stepped forward, pretending to help with the setup. In one smooth, practiced motion, she slipped her small USB drive into the laptop's port and replaced the family slideshow with her own file. Her heart pounded, but her hands were steady. This was the moment she had been preparing for weeks, the moment she would finally expose the truth. As the projector hummed to life, faces turned toward the glowing screen. Marcus's father smiled warmly, believing Alina had prepared a family tribute. But as the footage began, the room shifted from warmth to disbelief. Instead of cheerful memories, grainy video appeared, unmistakable, intimate, and damning. There was Marcus sitting close beside another woman on the couch. Their gestures were tender, their whispers soft. The room fell completely silent. The illusion of a perfect marriage shattered before everyone's eyes. At first, no one moved. Then came the whispers, spreading like a quiet storm. Faces once filled with admiration twisted in confusion and shock. Marcus froze in his seat, the color draining from his face. His confidence melted away as he realized what was happening. He looked at Alina, wide-eyed, panicked, realizing too late that he had underestimated her. He had mistaken her silence for weakness, her love for the children for submission. But she had been watching, planning, waiting for this exact moment. When Marcus suddenly jumped to his feet and tried to rush toward the laptop, Alina stepped in front of him, blocking his path. Her stance was firm, her eyes cold and steady. The footage continued behind her, switching from video to audio. The sound of Marcus's voice filled the room. Sweet words whispered to another woman, promises he could never take back. Every lie, every betrayal echoed through the air, and the silence that followed was unbearable. Marcus's family sat in disbelief. His parents stared blankly at the floor, unable to meet his eyes. His siblings exchanged stunned glances, trying to reconcile the man they knew with the one exposed on the screen. When Marcus lunged forward again in anger, his older brother intervened, holding him back. Alina didn't flinch. She had anticipated every reaction, every excuse. Her calmness only made his desperation look smaller. When the last recording ended, Alina reached into her handbag and pulled out an envelope. She stepped forward and dropped it at Marcus's feet. Inside were divorce papers she had prepared weeks earlier. Her terms were simple and final: full custody of the children and half of their assets. There was nothing left to say. The evidence spoke for itself. In the weeks that followed, Marcus's world unraveled. In court, his attempts to fight were weak and hollow. The judge, presented with undeniable proof, videos, recordings, and messages, ruled in Alina's favor. She was granted full custody and financial support, while Marcus was left with nothing but his shame. His once proud reputation crumbled. His parents could no longer look at him, and his siblings distanced themselves from the scandal that had destroyed their family's image. Alina, though exhausted from the ordeal, finally felt free. She had spent years sacrificing her happiness for the illusion of a perfect home. Now she focused on rebuilding her life for herself and her children, free from deceit, free from heartbreak. Marcus, meanwhile, sank into isolation. Every month, as he paid the court-ordered support, he was reminded of the day everything fell apart. The day Alina had exposed the truth for all to see. For Alina Ferris, that night wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming her voice after years of silence. As she looked ahead to a new life, surrounded by her children and the comfort of honesty, she knew she had done what she needed to do. The pain had been real, but so was her strength. The reunion that was meant to celebrate family had instead become a turning point, a moment of revelation and rebirth. And for Alina, it marked the beginning of freedom.